I'm back in Spain. I'm also in a basement, but there is no reason to feel scared. Do. I hopped on a plane, this time not for replacement, but because of that, I'm underprepared. So that's all I have for you today. Welcome or welcome back. I am Jacob.
I'm BB.
And together we are the Butter Bunch. Or the Butter, you know, sometimes we're called that. It depends.
Only our friends are allowed to call us that.
Of course, yeah. Friends who are not present here right now. I don't remember if Aiden said anything about not being here today, but
you know, he
I'm surprised
often
if we
doesn't.
did. Yeah, I'm more surprised if we did, you know, because he'll sometimes tell us about work schedules and such, but not usually in relation to these. So I have no idea. But yeah, like I said in the rapidly put together song, yeah, I'm in Spain. I'm in a basement right now. That's why everything sounds echoey, and yeah, it's gonna be like that for about the next 3 weeks or so. Just in case anyone missed the D&D 1 shot we did yesterday, plug. That's probably also sounded very similar from my end. So, it's not that I forgot to turn off my reverb on the audio interface. Although, if I turned on reverb, what would happen?
Oh no.
It's not all the way up, but this is like a quarter of the way. Is it really bad?
You know, it probably sounds better than me in my dorm room.
Oh, well, there we go. Hey, I guess well, if there's one thing that I've learned from these videos is that people don't really care about us talking. So I guess with that in mind, we should probably make our way and mosey along to Act 2 of Annie. It is here in the flesh, finally, as one would say. The dance play is about to return. So I guess without further ado, on with the review.
Hey, did you hear Annie's racing again? No way. Yeah, he's training down in Beggar's Canyon. Hey.
It's actually really good for us, like to have obviously I've watched this multiple times, but it's been a week, so get a recap of where we are in the story.
Let's check it out. All right.
So once again, Aiden is not here, and the band is present on the screen. Is like his biggest complaint from last episode. Oh well.
Dorothy,
goes on.
be honest. These outfits look silly.
Of course not. This is standard issue Imperial training here. We look cool. Now keep up, Annie.
I'll try.
We've barely begun.
Go on without me.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
Oh, without you, you're the one racing.
Work ahead of you. Yes, you do.
I am wondering why they're doing physical training though. If he's going into, I guess pod racing, does require a bit of strength on top of it. But as far as stamina and cardio goes, not so much, I would imagine.
Well, okay, I'm gonna push back on that actually. I would say that it's almost a little bit illogical that they don't do that in the actual Star Wars universe, because you have to keep in mind how fast the pod racers are going. There's a reason that astronauts have to get so fit, because the speed mixed with like the pressure and all that, it's just too much.
I thought it was because if they don't exercise due to lack of gravity, their muscles would atrophy.
That as well, but if that were the case, then why not just fatten up? That's not the only reason.
Muscular atrophy. Fattening up will not help with muscular atrophy.
It ain't gonna be fun.
Go.
Just keep your eyes on the target.
Got energy.
Which again is the exact same reason, because it's a lot of pressure.
Knowing Star Kid, absolutely, most likely that, because 80s stuff.
It's you. Yes. 'Cause you got that one thing hiding up your sleeve. And every time
Well, I guess that technically does count as another 80s reference, because that was obviously from a movie that came out in the 80s, what they just did right there.
I see it, I can hardly believe.
And hey, Darth Vader was kind of in a similar scene on Dagobah. Sort of, in spirit, in a way.
My eyes, and you know why. You got it. You got it. You got the force.
I think this is one of my favorite ones, actually.
You got it. You got it. You got the force. You haven't gotten there yet. 'Cause you can always try harder. Be stronger, faster, better. If you believe, you gotta do it. When I look in your eyes.
Hey, this I'm absolutely questioning the relevance of in pod racing, aside from hit the nose.
I can see the fire. It's burning oh so bright.
I would love to see Sebulba try to hit the exact same punching bag that Annie just did, without even moderating the height. Oh, you can get up, okay.
That one thing hiding up your sleeve. And every time I see it, I can hardly believe my eyes.
Is that Robert Manny underneath there? I never actually questioned who was actually under the Sebulba mask, but now I think about it, Robert Manny makes perfect sense during this time. Is that actually him?
I imagine Sebulba's like bipedalism is kind of like that of a rat, where it's like generally they're on all fours, but like they could hop on their hind legs pretty easily if they wanted to.
But basically, what Scooby's been doing in Mistress of Occulta, yeah. Oh, okay.
Actually,
so Eric Kahn Gale. All right, my bad.
It's funny actually. I based that gag from Scooby based on my real dogs. What they would do is every time I'd walk into the house, they would always hop onto their hind legs so they can give me like a human hug, and it was very cute.
Fair enough. I tried with the one shot to take as much inspiration from actual cats as I could for stuff that Fred did. Like she,
Yeah.
like she was served a cup of tea and she'd basically drank it like this. Anyway.
Also, Sebulba is played by Eric Kahn Gale.
Yes, I answered that already. Yeah.
Oh.
Usually more behind the scenes, but he's been around for several projects. Yeah, that tracks. I guess also because they've had to split up their cast amongst, two separate musicals, that it makes sense to give some other people the literal spotlight they have not had in most cases. Hey, I guess we can dance now. All right then.
All right, Annie, the moment of truth.
Okay, I'm gonna appreciate right there what Brian Holland just did of going woo, do, 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 and then we come back to you go Annie further up. That probably we've got a miss, but not always easy to change your pitch that quickly. In fact, that's actually a thing that a lot of singers end up being tripped up by.
Go. It's working! It's working! Now this is pod racing!
I like how he already started taking it off as he was going into the wings, saying his line. We've all been waiting for that line to be said. Oh my goodness.
Holy smokes, look at that time! I can't read!
Again, he does the impossible. He makes Jar Jar actually funny.
He might actually have a shot at this.
Hey boys, good work today. Now hit the showers.
The only person not training with them is the foot soldier.
You got it, you got it, you got it. You got the voice, yeah. You got it, you got it, you got it. You got the force, yeah.
Yeah.
After a long day of training, nothing beats a night's trip to the sauna. Oh, I just feel that moisture.
Yeah, farmed from your brother-in-law's, I guess, supply, I suppose, maybe. I don't know.
What a day, huh, Annie? You showed some real improvement out there.
Yeah, thanks.
Wait, no, not brother-in-law, half-brother. Was sister-in-law as well. Yeah, your half-brother and sister-in-law, whatever. You know who I meant.
Starkey. Hey, here's a joke for you. What do you do with a dog from Endor? Take him for an Ewok.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That one's cute, Annie.
See, I'm getting better.
Yeah, it's less obscure. It's more of it's more of that's more of the main appeal to it. Yeah.
Hello, boyos.
Although, as far as less obscure and more appealing things goes,
Boy, JJ, be a pal. Give my back a quick rub down, would you?
Well, okay. It was a good joke from a meta perspective, but now that I think more on it, I don't know how well that would go over to the Ewoks, given that the punchline of the joke was their species.
most of these jokes are either ad hominem attacks at existing Star Wars characters or something to do with their species. In fact, there's actually one coming up later on that I'll point out that is going to be similar to that.
So, Dorky. You and Emily. What's going on there?
Oh, nothing. I really don't think she likes me at all.
Dorky, if that girl looks you,
What are you doing with the towel, actually? I can see him there just like standing on it.
she's half what I can see. Then she sees a whole heck of a lot.
Oh, you should be listening to Annie. He's got the bomb skills with the ladies. Moi.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, JJ, tell them about my old lady, Padme.
Oh, so Padme fine. You might even be saying she be looking like Natalie Portman.
No way. Your wife
I'm just
look
going to ignore the fact that Jar Jar met Padme when she was 14, but forget that for right now. Natalie Portman, funny.
Natalie Portman, the actress?
Oh, yeah, Dead Ringer. Seriously, though, she was the most beautiful creature. Hot little Jewish girl from Naboo.
Ooh, you got lucky, man.
Hey, look at...
Wait, they have they have Jewish people on Naboo? Hold on a second. Does that imply that God is canon to the Star Wars universe?
Nothing to do with it. I had a secret weapon. A secret that I now pass on to you. Dorky, when I first left you, I was but a learner, but now I am the master. Just let me get...
Well, after you first left him like a week ago. I know the reference. That's why he says to Obi-Wan later, but still.
out of my locker. Here you go.
Why is Aiden never around for the band scenes?
The solution to all your romantic needs. Give
You
it a
know, he
read. What are
secretly
these?
plans this, actually.
Oh yeah, he pre-watched this. Yeah.
Some of my
course.
old lines. Best stuff I ever said.
All right, let's see here. I'm haunted by the kiss that you never should have given me.
Keep going.
My heart is beating, hoping that kiss will not become a scar. Annie, is this one of your jokes? Oh, you fellows are playing a prank on me. These lines are so bad it's funny.
What are you talking about? This stuff's gold.
Gold?
Yeah. So again, in the light of the Star Wars discourse of the last 10 years, this is what people like universally agree was like one of the worst parts of the franchise at the time. At least the more casual fans did.
I wish I could just wish away my feelings.
What's great about that line is the repetition of the word wish. See, it's like
Of course, I for one would never dare point out repetition in any sort of script, and I've never done so at any other point, especially on
No, of
Gacha
course
Review.
not.
poetry, it rhymes.
There is absolutely no way.
And that, of course, is a George Lucas reference. That's what he describes the Star Wars franchise as when talking about the prequels, actually.
That you actually said these things.
That is a
That was also around the time that he said it was a story of the Skywalkers, so, the whole I'm Rey Skywalker thing later. Anyway.
literally a transcript where I said to Padme in front of a fireplace on Naboo. You know what happened the next day? I married that girl.
Really? So you're saying that these lines actually work?
Yeah, over the course of about a week or so, it was, it was very Disneyfied. That's before Disney bought them.
Oh, trust me.
Was in Sirius Black. You never tell a woman you love her. It makes you look like an idiot. Absolutely.
Darky, the dames love it. Also, when you're saying these lines, it helps if you cry. Does your voice get any whinier? Like you could say something like, "Now that I'm with you, I'm in agony." Ooh. Really lay it on thick, make her feel guilty. And if all else
Yeah. There's no Jake Lloyd digs because child makes sense, but there are a ton of Hayden Christensen ones.
fails, slaughter a village of sand people. Quickest way to a woman's heart.
Well, I guess I've been doing it wrong all these years.
Hey, why don't you take
Now,
her out
I
for a drink?
don't seem to remember her enjoying hearing that confession.
No. If anything, that was probably like the first red flag that she actually picked up on.
I know a great little hole in the wall called the cantina. Just a warning, they don't serve droids.
All right,
Another good reference there.
fellows, I'll give it a shot, eh?
Oh, there you go.
I will say the Cantina is one of the, it's not exactly one of the most creative Star Wars names, but it is a recognizable The Cantina, of course.
Yeah.
All right, everyone hands
Yeah,
up.
I mean, whenever you say cantina,
One,
like,
two,
sure, that's a name of a general place, but everyone knows Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
Hit the nose!
And speaking of, oh wait, no, this is Jawas Pass, I forget that. Almost
This
a good
must be the
segue.
place. All right, Mara. Yeah.
You can never
What
tell from
am
the camera quality if that's an actual headshot or a drawing.
That's
can do
definitely a
this.
drawing.
Just gotta knock on the door.
I mean, I guess it technically makes sense. You know, that there's not much photography a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Now I think about it.
All right.
To be
So I
fair, I
could
don't know why
definitely
they
see them having like a casual, like like 3D hologram of the person, like that.
Yeah,
counts
that's what I was
as
about to
headshots.
say. Why would they have like pictures and stuff when they can just like do a holographic 3D piece?
Yeah, my question, my question would be, why wouldn't they have had pictures first before they developed that, and therefore have the technology still be around?
Hi.
It's the guy who was referenced earlier, one of the Star Wars jokes.
I'm Mara Jade.
Marion hated the description of
I'm
him.
here to audition for the dancing slave girl position.
For Jabba?
Yeah.
I mean, who else is hiring dancing slave girls in this establishment?
I take it to Jabba now.
Oh, thank you.
Come in.
This.
Come in. Come and wait with the other app.
I have said this before, you know, Cinderella's castle is, you know, a fantastic display of Starkid with a budget. But I absolutely love Starkid with no budget.
Applicants.
Wait, other applicants?
Hey, look, it's the new version of Tanya and the Hot Girls without Tanya.
She's so good. So I've been a slave dancer for like
Only one of them is she's so good, not the other one. Forget the other one. Okay, I see what you did there.
going on I don't know, 13 years now. I've done Yavins 1, 2, 3, pretty much all the Yavins. Where have you slaved?
Well, I'm over at Geonosis right now, but I'm looking for a change. The people there just bug me, you know?
See, that's what
You
I
are
meant earlier,
literally
you know,
a slave.
Yes, but remember what you said a few scenes ago in terms of the joke being the species?
Excuse me, why are you laughing? Oh, I don't know. Well, do you even get the joke? No, ma'am. See, she said that the people over there bug her, and it's funny because the people who live on Geonosis are bug people. See, it's like a humorous play on words, and that's where the comedy comes in, okay?
Jesus.
Okay, so I will say this. I watched this before I watched Attack of the Clones. But even without that knowledge and even without seeing Geonosis, like the idea that Bug Me was the punchline, I knew it had to be that they were bug people. So if I were in this scenario, I would have caught on regardless. It's kind of like something that I remember when I was watching an episode of Porridge, which is a British comedy series set in a prison from the 1970s, filmed in the 1970s. And at one point, I was watching that, and they made a reference to a guy called Don Revy, and Revy is actually a slang term for bevy, like beverages, alcohol beverages. But even then, obviously you had to be a famous person to get his name associated with that. So, so basically, I was watching that, and they said, "Oh, well, you never see Don Revy deal with this kind of unprofessionalism in sports and something to that effect." To which then I started laughing, and then my nana was next to me and said, "Do you even get the joke? Do you know who Don Revy was?" Like, well, no, but I assume from context that he was some manager of some kind. And that was the correct answer. So even with references people don't get sometimes, there are context clues. And that's why I keep making so many of them in stuff.
So anyway, I hear it's pretty tough to get enslaved by Jabba, but
I forgot to mention another thing that happens this as I have terrible internet connections sometimes. Yeah, maybe it's worth every landing,
okay.
possibly.
I'm
I
like,
see.
I
I
got
thought that
this,
was
what
me
I'm
messing
saying,
up.
boys.
No, it's just because, again, I'm in a basement.
Fair enough.
You guys want to buy me a drink later? You guys, all of you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. See you then. Anyway, honey, your nipple's hanging out. So anyway, it's like, sometimes I see those girls who've only been slaving for like a couple years, and it's like, I just want to be like, hey girl, why don't you take that twerking or whatever it is you call it over to Gardella the Hut, Honey, this is never gonna happen.
Okay. I have a question about this. Because I'm wondering about the logistics of how they got to this point. Because either they ordered they ordered a size that was already going to be too small for poor Chris Allen here, or alternatively, somebody already had that, was in their prop store or something, or somebody contributed it to to the to the show. To which I wonder who that person was and what why they had that to begin with. If it's the second scenario, if it's the first, then I guess they were really setting this up. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Now, before you audition for Jabba, you gotta fill out this application.
All right.
Now, when you fill out this application, be sure to list all the past places that you were previously enslaved, starting with the most recent place of enslavement.
I don't got
So sounds like list all of your previous experiences. We want to know everything you've done.
any of that. What?
Again, there you go.
Do you got any references?
No, ma'am. See, I ain't never been no slave before. So.
Technically, still have haven't done the job first, but it's more difficult.
She never been a slave. And she auditioned for Jabba.
That laugh right there reminds me of Jim Povolo. I can't back this up. I was or the highest I thought it was too small, and somebody say, what will be. You know what? Option C. Option C. We'll go with option C.
Well, this is it. The cantina.
Haha, you don't think I'm maybe like a little overdressed for this place?
Oh, no, you're beautiful. I mean, you're dressed beautiful. Beautifully.
You know what? He's getting better.
Yeah, I mean,
Bartender,
he
check,
saved
please.
himself a little bit there.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not making accidental innuendos that make him sound terrible. So that's something.
I mean, could we have a seat? Oh, dear.
Sure, pal. Here you go. And, hey, how about a bit of friendly advice? Just relax and be yourself. It's enough.
Bartenders are really nice people. And, well, speaking of supposedly nice people...
Hey, you just came in here, but I think you've had enough.
I'll tell you when I've had enough.
You'll tell me when you've
Jesus.
had enough.
Let's go.
Obi-Wan post Order 66.
Well, yes, absolutely. If I had a nickel for every time that they turned a Star Wars character into an alcoholic, I would have 2 nickels, which is a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Hey, you guys want to see something funny? Watch this. Come here. My dick is a surfboard.
Oh my God. That man's dick. It's a surfboard.
I wouldn't be excited about that. I would call a doctor.
Well, what can I get for you, Mr. Surfboard Dick?
Was the motion necessary?
Well, I'll start with one.
The hands
of
are staying.
everything, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, is that old guy all right?
Excuse
No,
me,
not
sir.
really.
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
It's as if a million voices suddenly cried out in terror, and then were suddenly silenced.
Another line reference.
I have the worst hangover in history. Thank you. I'm better now. I'm drunk.
Wow. That guy.
I
Said
like
before
the
that
idea.
Jeff Blim is my favorite StarKid member, but scenes like this make me reconsider my ranking towards Nick Lang.
I love the idea of like Superman. He just like Clark just doesn't drink because he's convinced that every time he does, his lack of inhibition, which causes him to have like the superhero go off like naturally. He just thinks he's having a wicked hangover.
I would love to see a drunk Superman one time try to execute a fight. Like would all of his like laser like eye lasers be just like centimeters off or something?
Dude, Superman kills someone by accident that way.
That would honestly, I can see that happening in a comic book. Another reason Batman would fight him.
Really puts him back, huh?
Yeah,
Fair.
one more
Well,
shot.
you have to learn to consume this much alcohol if you are to learn the Force. Become a Jedi.
I mean, is that a requirement? If so, what did you do to Annie? What did
like
Qui-Gon
me.
do to you?
You're a Jedi? But I thought all of the Jedi were wiped out except for. Say, do you happen to know an Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Of course I know.
Kenobi?
He's me. I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I am an alcoholic.
Jesus.
A few months later, these characters would meet again, and on a different circumstances. One of them is infiltrating the other one's, massive starbase. But these things. Life is like that.
I'm sorry. I didn't have to tell you guys that. Let me start again.
I do really like how he's
Say,
trying
who is
to
this
emulate. I really do like how he's trying to emulate the voice mannerisms of McGinnis.
Yeah, but compared to what he did with Palpatine, absolutely.
I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm a proud graduate of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I am an alcoholic.
What I think you should go back
Who
to
are
school.
you?
Actually, I don't need to go back to school.
Oh, Moff Jeffrey Tarkin.
Muff? Who's Muff? Her Muff?
No. Moff, it's a title, a rank. Moff Tarkin.
Oh, well, it's very good to meet you, Jeffrey. I like you very much. I'm
Forgetting he actually did say Moff Jeffrey Tarkin before that.
Obi-Wan. I'm an alcoholic.
Yes, I know that.
Oh, good. Well, quit talking all the muff and let's have a drink, shall we? I hope you
Well, it's very clear this was Annie's master.
don't mind if I sit between you.
Actually, sir.
No, not at
There is supposed to be a table there, right? Surely. I used to have a catchphrase. I told the story before, but in one of the like the old drama clubs that I was a part of,
He looks horrifying in this freeze frame, by the way.
it's fair. It's actually the word with Palpatine in the actual movies. Anyway, so the story is that that while we did like a lot of improv scenes because it was a drama club. That's kind of what happens. In fact, at one point, it became so regular during the second year that I was there that certain patterns began to emerge. for example, pretty much all of them seem to forget whenever there was an invisible table in the scene. So my catchphrase for an entire year was "You walk through the table!" Like, because I was always the person reacting in the scene like a person would if they saw someone walk through a table. And that became such a thing that eventually, because they were all children, they decided to constantly have tables and deliberately start walking through them in every scene that I was in, and some of them were where I wasn't, and then looking at me with a knowing smirk. And then, of course, they tried to push me through tables sometimes, and I had to pretend like I was banging my legs constantly.
At all. You know, to be honest, I'm a little bit of a history buff.
Oh, that's
and
funny.
I've
So am
always
I.
wanted to meet a Clone Wars survivor. You know, the whole thing is just so shrouded in mystery.
It is
I relate to Jeffrey in this situation, trying to have the conversation, but you're trying to once again reel it back in.
bit mysterious, isn't
No,
it?
no. You guys are making it sound more complicated than it was. Let me set the record straight.
Here we go.
The Clone Wars began when my friend Qui-Gon and I went to the planet of Naboo to settle a trade dispute that had broken
that's
out
not when it
between the
started.
trade.
No, I think this is more because like what like built up to it, you know, sort of like how, you know, the event that started World War One was, you know, Archie Duke shot Osher because he was hungry, as they say. But the actual reason was because, you know, there were so many like, you know, political tensions at the time between like the three cousins, particularly that were kings at the time, for example. And that was a whole thing. So there was like a lot of stuff that, you know, would not have happened or wouldn't have triggered that if they weren't already in place. So it's kind of like that to like start a little bit further back than just the actual starting points.
And the planet, you see, the Federation had put a blockade around the system so that they could. I'm sorry. I fell asleep because that was so boring.
Okay, I will say this. I think at one point in one of the recorded Gacha reviews, I actually played that clip over Aiden speaking about something. It might have been you, actually, BB. It might have been one of you was going on a long rant, and I played that exact clip. So that's the only like Annie clip that I've used that you might have for.
That's fair. Also, I just want to point out that
I saved my computer still.
I just want to point out that the Stormtrooper not knowing much about the Clone Wars, I can kind of buy just because like censorship and they're so low that like they probably don't have like all the records that are like on the higher end. Tarkin was literally was there during the Clone Wars. He was in the Clone Wars.
I bet he's not happy about being upstaged in that case, because he could have impressed his date with his knowledge, honestly.
Where was I?
You and your friend Qui-Gon were doing
yes,
something?
Qui-Gon. He was my master, you see. Or was Yoda my master?
Okay, so that right there is because in the Empire Strikes Back, when Obi-Wan appears as a Force ghost to Luke and just like Ramos says, "Luke, you will go to the Dagobah system. There you will train with Yoda, who trained me," like that kind of thing. And I can't do my best Alec Guinness because I'm a bit blocked, got to be a bit more nasally. Anyway, so and that was the thing that they clearly, you know, continuity, spontaneity, exactly. So why not have Obi-Wan be so drunk in the afterlife that he still doesn't remember?
My memory is flexible. You see, only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense at all.
You know, I think that's what I'm going to say about my memory
deal-
from now on. It's flexible.
Absolute.
It's a joke I didn't understand until I realized that Absolute Vodka was a thing. I think it was. Again, context clues suggest that it was a brand of some kind, but that's one that, unlike the Geonosis one, I wasn't like quite able to place together at the time.
so there I was. I was a Padawan learner, and I had my long hair and my little braid. You see, I was kind of like a hippie guy.
Yes, excuse me, sir. I hate to interrupt, but do you see how your last statement doesn't make any sense at all? For
Yeah, Padawans aren't hippies. Absolutely, yeah, that's definitely
if
not.
only a Sith deals in absolutes, well, then that in itself is an absolute. Do you see how you've inadvertently called yourself a Sith there, old boy?
Another, commentary that people made all the time.
To be fair,
That
the Jedi were
just blew my
specifically
mind,
designed as
man.
hypocrites during the prequel era.
They were designed what?
So, as hypocrites during the prequel era, to be fair.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think a lot of the prequels was, especially like going down the politics route, was to establish that, things were not as black and white as they were painted at in the original trilogy. It was one of the downfalls of it in other people's minds in theory, because, good versus evil is a very simple story to get behind in comparison to, political drama, which is not for everyone, unfortunately.
back to the Clone Wars. Why were they called that?
But if you like political dramas, check out the one shot we did yesterday, because there's a lot of there's a paranoid king and a party of which the vibe died very quickly, and that constituted a possible coup, and other stuff happened. It was like 5 hours long. Check it out.
When did the clones show up?
Well, the Separatists who we were fighting had robots. And we, the Republic, had clones because the leader of the Separatists, who was a Sith Lord, made them for us. But how could we have known that those clones would remain loyal to that Sith Lord? We didn't see that one coming.
You didn't even suspect foul play?
Well, they didn't know that there was a Sith Lord at the time, so there wasn't much foul play to suspect at that moment.
Our vision was clouded, and we were very stupid.
So that was the thing. It's often brought up as like they should have known technically, because Palpatine was so deep into the dark side, his aura should have exuded to an unimaginable degree.
But there was a cloud over the Force, you see.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. That was how they counteracted that. It's a plot hole. They knew it was a plot hole, and that was the excuse they came up with. Now, question: when did this release?
This was 2014, November. Sure, it was like a year before Force Awakens came out.
You said 2014 in November?
Yes.
Maybe. Okay. So the reason I ask is because they mention the loyalty of the clones, which was for a very long time made note of in novels and such, that they did on their own free will follow into the Empire. They didn't know every detail, but they weren't mind controlled. They weren't forced into it. They were loyal. Until Clone Wars Season 6 released, where they revealed the chip thing. And that came out in March 7th of 2014. So my question is this incorrect
hold a
information,
second.
or was this written early?
Hold on a second. You just said the chip thing.
Yeah.
Can you describe while I go get a battery for my audio interface that's about to die out? Could you explain the chip thing to people, please?
Oh yeah, in the Clone Wars, they had a thing where like the clones were revealed. Fuck me. Okay, there's a battle happening, and one of the clones says it goes into a trance and is like, "Good soldiers follow order," and tries, blowing one of the other Jedi's brains out. And so there's a whole big arc where it's revealed that every clone has a chip in their brain that will essentially make them into obedient little slaves to execute all of the Jedi with no disobedience. And that one's just went off and was a bit buggy. But yeah, there was a handful of clones who knew that before and all that. No one took them seriously. They executed one of their own brothers. It was a very grim moment in that show. But regardless, that's the thing. Prior to that reveal in Clone Wars Season 6, it was very clear that the clones were willingly joining this.
You know what that kind of sounds like? Kind of sounds like Mysteries of Occulta, where Aiden backpedals significantly when he realized what he had made Fred do to Orchid. It was like,
yeah.
oh yeah, actually no, she was she was given stuff that made her insane. She had no idea what she was doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one
That
of
was
those
the intention.
things in the Star Wars community, because a big chunk of the community worships Filoni, right? He's the writer and director and yada yada of the Clone Wars. And part of his strengths is that he brings in stuff from like the expanded material, like the novels and such, right? Like you can see in one shot, you have the Republic Commandos. And yet amazingly, he somehow skips over some of those details despite him just having the material to know the minutia.
Well, there are a lot of them, so maybe he just forgot.
I mean, I guess, but like he's the one that introduced the chip thing. Like
Okay, then.
So I don't know, but the reason I bring that out is because the way that Obi-Wan is bringing it up is kind of talk about the way that we knew it prior to that retcon.
Yeah.
But this
does
came out
Obi-Wan know about the chip thing now?
I believe so. I forget. I know some Jedi did. I know some Jedi were told about it and didn't believe it. Like I know Anakin, for instance, he was told about it and didn't believe it.
He probably knows now.
So reinforced it. Yeah, I mean, it's super possible that he at least heard it as a rumor. I forget the exact details though. But no, I bring that up because this came out after Season 6, so that retcon already existed. But Season 6 released in March, so I have to wonder when this was being written, right? Because does this predate the release of that, or is this a mistake on their part? That's what I'm curious about.
Fair enough. I'm now just picturing a scene where it's like, funny right to your Chancellor. Ah, Anakin, welcome. So I was walking down the hallway and I heard a couple of officials talking about something to do with like a chip. Have the clones been chipped? Have I ever told you about Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Well, for Anakin, it was because the 501st was the group of soldiers that went to go execute the quote unquote rogue clone, aka the one whose chip went off prematurely. And so he was there whenever that clone was begging for his life because he was back to normal for that moment. So
he was back to normal for that moment, so he wouldn't have then that
right,
suggests
but they
that
don't right. But no one sure, but no one believed the fucking chip thing, so they just like everyone thought he was going nuts, and so they killed him.
So you're saying that Anakin witnessed a soldier that everyone thought was going nuts, and no one believed anyway. Most likely the answer was no, he didn't.
To our credit, we were being tricked.
I mean, I'm sure everyone knew afterwards, given that again he talked about, like, he said everything. It's just no one believed it.
Both the Republic and the Separatists were secretly being controlled by the Emperor. He was fighting.
He wasn't really an emperor at that point,
a
but
war against himself for control of a galaxy that he already had control of.
Okay, that was phrased like it was a bad strategy. That fighting against himself was what granted him a lot of that power and Jar Jar.
What I've never understood is why would the Jedi, who are supposedly the protectorate of the peace, plunge the galaxy into a war?
We declared war in the name of peace. Right?
I think that was a line from the movies, but I don't remember.
I don't believe so. I know they bring this point up a lot in, again, the Clone Wars, where they bring up a big idea where, like, back in the Old Republic, they really were much more like monks and such, and whenever they did use their abilities and such, it was, like, on an almost godlike level, and here they are wearing, like, battle armor.
I mean, I feel like even monks are vulnerable to being shot in the real world. That makes sense
Sure,
to me.
but they weren't generals. They weren't they weren't marching into war in armies, you know.
They often found themselves in battle situations. I mean, even the events that Obi-Wan has referenced here right now, they weren't there to fight anyone, but you know, Star Wars being Star Wars, that's exactly what happened in the opening scene of Phantom Menace.
Yeah, but they led the
They couldn't
attacks.
just
though.
let
And arguably they should have had battle armor during those.
Right, but what I'm
Because
saying is that where you were right. Correct. They did have battle armor because it was the Clone Wars.
yeah.
Prior
This is
to
on
that,
Wars.
that wasn't the case.
Also, you did say that they weren't generals. I'm pretty sure I've heard them called. I've heard the words General Kenobi and General Skywalker multiple times in the Clone Wars.
Sith run
Because it was the
everything.
Clone Wars and they were promoted to generals.
So there we go. So what you were saying before, them not being generals, they promoted to generals. They had the battle armor. I'm
No,
not seeing
we're
the
talking
issue
about
here.
the Jedi as a whole.
I can
The
see that. Well, again, I can see
The Jedi were not like this prior to the Clone Wars. Not to the same scale, not generally going off to start the fights. Like, they had their skirmishes, they had their battles, but it was not the same as a galactic war on the scale of the Clone Wars, and the Jedi doing the things they did during the Clone Wars, including, might I add, war crimes, which is a big meme that Anakin is a wild war criminal now. Is like it. That's
shocked.
it was such a betrayal to the idea of being a true Jedi.
I think that might be why Tarkin's confused here, to be honest. Although that you saying that it's a meme that Anakin was a war criminal, really that's surprising. I mean, he was known for breaking rules and not following the ways of the Jedi. Anyway,
They're a
Sure.
group of religious zealots who want to impose their will on everyone else, and that's the Jedi's job. We're the light side, they're the dark side. They believe in love, we forbid it.
so who decided the names of light and dark side at first? Who was behind that? Darth Plagueis?
I'm sure it goes
Don't you
much
see
further
that?
back. I don't actually know though.
That was a joke. I'm sure it wasn't Darth Plagueis.
There'd be a balance, a harmony between light and the dark side. And to create that harmony, we wanted to wipe out the dark side. And then all of a sudden, 2 Sith come along and they kill all but 2 Jedis. That's not balance.
Yes, it is. You know, speaking with you has confirmed everything that Annie ever told me about the Jedi. You guys are a bunch of knuckleheads.
Well, you can tell that Annie that she can go and get her gun.
Oh, no.
Which I presume she has.
Because she has insulted my religion, and now I will kill her with my sword.
Oh, no.
Well, I guess this is the equivalent of challenging someone to a duel in the olden days.
No. Annie, as in your old apprentice. Do you remember Annie?
I loved him like a brother, so I cut him in half. And I put him in a volcano.
You didn't put him in the volcano. You were already in there to begin with. Also, you had the high ground. You got an excuse. Memory's fuzzy. You know, he's drunk and senile. We'll give him a pass.
Oh. Well,
He didn't tell me that part.
he's better now.
What?
Yes, why, in fact, he's racing in this year's Bunte Eve. You should come by sometime and say hello. Perhaps you two
Yeah, I'm sure that he's more than happy to see
can
him.
bury the old hatchet there. Oh, pardon me. I'm being invited to a FaceTime. Oh, that's not good.
What is it?
It's the Emperor.
Well, you know, I guess in this world, instead of the holograms, they've got FaceTime. Why not?
I think I'm in trouble. Emily, I need to take this.
What?
He almost walked through the table there. Doesn't quite
I
count.
can't miss this.
Yes, you can. I feel like that's not a call is not for you, but okay.
Well, it's like, God damn it, right? It's like you think you kill a guy, and then he shows up as a goddamn robot. And this is the second bloody time this has happened to me.
Another Clone Wars reference, so they know some things from there.
First Darth Maul and now Andy. What is the world coming to? I tell you what.
See,
Well,
you've got to make
I
sure
guess-
that they disappear and vanish and all their clothes fall down. That's how you destroy a Jedi or a Sith.
Yeah.
So I'll just have to finish the job. Come here, my little friend.
Who's there the whole
Oh
time.
my god.
Yes, it appears that
Like,
you and I
who are you calling little? Yes! They definitely did not know what they were saying at the time.
have a common enemy. What do you say to the two of us joining forces? Yes, pod racing
By the Nye sounds very much similar to Chew by the Nye, which was how he said you've gotten fat, Anakin. I've watched this enough times to ought to have picked up on that.
is a
My ear is trained for languages.
dangerous sport, especially for a man of Annie's age, and especially if he doesn't have his pit crew there to help him. So what do you say? I take care of the pit crew, and you make sure that Annie doesn't finish the race.
Which was already what he was most likely going to do, but okay.
Yeah, sabotage his pod if you have to. I don't care. Just kill him. Yes.
Ooh, Mr. T is canon now.
I like you, Quidoba. I like you because you are an animal, and I like animals.
Weirdly enough, I'm going to make a Dragon Ball reference here. So during Little Karibo's audition for Frieza, no, sorry, not for Frieza, for Captain Ginyu, he made a scene where he was Captain Ginyu talking to Frieza, and that's what gave him with Frieza because they realized how good his Frieza was at the time, and that was the whole thing. But one of the things that Frieza said in that one was something like, "I like you, Captain Ginyu. If you were a cat, I would stroke you," or something like that. I don't remember exactly all the things that were said, but you know, a lot of the strangely worded praise towards Captain Ginyu, and that was what earned him that position, which he still prizes to this day every now and then for Hiffle.
You remind me of my friend Yodra. Yodra is a green animal who lives in the swamp. You'd like him, he's cute. And now, let's have a drink to our fiendish union of the light side.
Fiendish union of the light side. Oh, we drank that like Frederick's tea. Like how we were only on scene 2, and that, but it doesn't feel like it.
Here goes
Especially because we're like a third the way through the last act.
nothing.
Obi-Wan, it's fine.
Jeffrey.
Oh, hello,
I wish they did the Skype one, but it was FaceTime, so yeah.
Pappy.
Jeffrey, I finished that Lego set I was working on.
You must be so proud of yourself, sir.
Well, I didn't do it all by myself. I had some help.
From whom? May I ask?
Hello, Jeffrey.
This.
Yes, and he's also filled me in on all of this pod racing business, huh? Unlike you, I have half a mind to make this guy my grand moth.
I'm terribly sorry. Jokes once. I would have expected this from Nida, but not you.
I did a quick search to find out why. Who first called it why it's called the dark and light side and how that came about.
Okay.
So in the Dawn of the Jedi era, there's one of the main planets that is focused on is a planet called Tython. And on Tython, there are 2 moons that orbit it, which is going to be Ashla and Bogan. And Ashla and Bogan, one is lighter than the other and one is darker than the other. And Tython acts as a big nexus for the Force. And so people saw these 2 moons as symbols of 2 halves of the Force.
I see. I'm imagining you saying that, but like in Obi-Wan's voice, like there was a planet called Typhon, and there was also a light moon, and then the dark moon. And the 2 halves people saw, and they were like, hey, there's a dark side and a light side. Had no faces, because I don't know why they had no faces. That would have actually put a dampener in the whole suggestion. If you think about it. Also, I just realized that this part looks like a lightsaber. It's actually a selfie stick, but I like how it's like when it's like not deployed, it looks like I have a prop for today.
Did you ever have one of those toy lightsabers?
My brother did. So, but it wasn't one of the good ones. It was one of those like gigantic ones that was like really thick, and they had to like
oh
slam
yeah,
it.
No, those are the ones that I had. Yeah, and it was like segmented.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
I remember going to the store one time and I was given a choice, and I distinctly remember them giving me the choice between the red lightsaber, I think it was, and the purple lightsaber, and I chose the red lightsaber. And I'm gonna be honest.
Wish you'd gone purple?
I kind of wish I could go back and get that purple one. And I could, technically. I'm sure I can buy it very easily, but I don't regret it so much that I wasn't want to spend money on it. But one day I will, just to tie up that loose end.
Yeah. You know, they say once you go purple, you know what it's worth, y'all.
Nida. I'm sick of hearing the name Captain Nida. From now on, this galaxy will know the name of General Veers.
Thank you, Captain Nida.
Damn it.
I don't know this, but I'm assuming that the general public keeps getting the 2 characters mixed up or something, but that's my best guess. Also, yeah, mysterious as the dark side of the moon. Another Team 4 style comparison, actually. Now I'm picturing what if Mr. Popo was the Emperor the whole time. All right, maggots, you're in my empire now.
So anyway, Tarkin, I want you to bring Annie home right now, okay? Enough messing around, right?
Sir, pardon me, but Annie's put so much effort into this already. Why, it's the happiest I've seen him in years. You wouldn't just take that away from him now, would you?
Pod racing is stupid. No apprentice of mine is going to be out pod racing. I need Annie back here to help me run this battle station.
Where?
That's the personnel supervisor. Also, I mean, it was implied that, oh yeah, that's right, because it wasn't really a proper replacement that, Mara was supposed to be. But anyway.
If that's the only reason that you need him, perhaps I oughtn't bring him back at all, sir.
Jeffrey, you will follow orders.
He looks into editing in pause frame like Obi-Wan, but,
Yes, sir. I will follow orders. But not your orders. I'll follow the orders of my heart. That's something that Annie taught me.
If he doesn't need Annie's lines, if he's got stuff like that, I'll follow all the orders of my heart is absolutely the thing you should say to Emily.
And I can't believe that you, knowing how Annie loves pod racing oh so very
How is he holding the phone, by the way? Was he force levitating the phone to be an angle with his face for FaceTime?
much,
He
won't even
could.
support that.
You can kiss that promotion goodbye!
Fine. You can take that promotion and you can stick it in your dark side, sir. I'm hanging
That's
up now.
pretty good.
Talking out.
Jeffrey, don't you hang up on me! Aye.
The squeaks are absolutely my favorite. That's one of the things I think about whenever I think about Annie is like that image particularly. It's like, as much as people can come at this from a Star Wars or a parody angle, who would have expected Moff Jeffrey Tarkin to make out with a phone to high-pitched screams of Emperor Palpatine and to have it make narrative sense? Why not?
Whoa. You just hung up on the Emperor.
Yep.
Think you'll lose your job?
Yep.
Well, at least he's aware.
Well,
It can't not be.
good night.
Jeffrey, wait.
Yes.
That was pretty cool what you did back there. Standing up for a friend like that?
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know you had it in you.
Well, I think you'll find I'm full of surprises.
Oh no, ew. Is that like a pickup line or something?
Yeah, again, to quote Joke Yoda, that was a good one, but I think the delivery needs a little something. Perhaps a less creepy face next time.
Thing?
No, sorry, terribly sorry.
I'm just gonna head back to the ship, turn in for the night.
Wasn't that where he was going? Isn't it that direction? Okay.
Emily, wait.
Anymore. Now
Yeah?
he's sleeping on the couch.
Not together, because he can't pull that card yet. Although, speaking of pulling cards, Segway time. I knew I'd have a good one eventually.
From the moment I met you, all those years ago, not a day has gone by that I haven't thought of you.
See, that one's actually a good one, that was in there. They weren't all duds, and I'm glad that they acknowledged that.
Really?
And now that I'm with you, I'm an agony.
Okay.
I had no idea.
The thought of not being with you, I can't breathe.
Alright.
I'm haunted by the kiss that you never should have given me.
We never
Nico does a perfect Hayden Christensen impression without obviously knowing how Annie delivered the lines.
kissed.
That's the Home Alone 2 thing, where it's like, yeah, I saw you, and you were smooching with my brother. I didn't. Did I?
My heart is beating, hoping that that kiss will not become a scar.
Jeffrey Tarkin, you are a poet.
All right, man.
No man has ever spoken to me like this. You just seem so
I mean, that's probably for the best.
pathetic.
Clark is a wizard who he's working with.
Hey, he
We'll
laid
get
it
to
on
that in a
thick
second.
as per the instructions.
We'll get to Clark Backstresser in a second. Let's give Joe Walker a little bit more time.
I am. You're in my very soul, tormenting me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel so guilty.
If you were suffering as
I honestly never checked this. Who plays Emily in this?
as much as I am.
They do a really good job. I want to credit them properly.
Please tell me.
I think I am. Jeffrey, this is gonna sound crazy, but I think we should get married tomorrow.
Yeah, that's about as sudden as it was in the movies.
Yes, I do like how, again, the movies that were spread out over the course of like a week or so, technically, but also
A week or so. What
like-
makes you think that somehow makes it better?
but also, I do like how the implication is that the cumulative effect of all of the lines was always the same. So if Annie had said all of them as quickly as Tarkin did here, then that would have sped up the process. Julia Albert. A name. Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time. Technically, but I have heard it.
Holy smokes! Thanks, Annie.
From the moment I met
Now we get to Clark Backstresser.
all those years ago, not a single
thank
day has gone away that I didn't think of you. And now that I'm with you, I'm in agony. The closer that I get to you, the worse it gets for me.
You know what I'm realizing?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, George always referred to Star Wars as a soap opera. I kind of wish you leaned more closer to the opera. I'm realizing that these lines work way better when you add an instrumental to them and sing them in a nice harmony.
Yeah. Imagine if the Star Wars movies had been musicals the whole time.
It probably would have made the prequels better. Dude,
As for the original trilogy, I'm just imagining like a ballad between between Darth Vader and Luke. Anyway,
God, dude, the final act of Revenge of the Sith is just rock. It's electric guitars everywhere.
Yeah, fair enough. And also, yeah, I will say that the one thing that this reminds me of structurally, aside from the opera side of soap opera, is you know those songs people make based on YouTube comments. It reminds me of those. Like obviously nowadays there's like a thing of like there's actually this program or something that takes like different comments, like puts like a Viking choir over them or something. But I mean, like even back before that, like way back before that, that was still a thing. It was like a common trend. In fact, I think even Danny Gonzalez did that a couple of times back in the day. But yeah, and what part of the attempt at that was to try to splice them together so that they would rhyme if the commenters hadn't already made that obvious. Because sometimes they make like reply threads that do rhyme, other times it's random spots. Sometimes like the Smosh song where they use tweets. Well, that one didn't rhyme actually. Maybe that's a bad example. The other ones, those are good examples. So this kind of thing has definitely been done, but not with stuff that was it's like poetry. It rhymes. Look, we're actually making it rhyme.
But the thought of not being with you,
Here's the dance play portion of it.
I cannot breathe.
The first dates were like this. You just end the date with a dance number.
I'm haunted by the kiss at you.
Despite that, still a serious expression. I'm realizing actually they gave Joe Walker a lot of funny romantic pairings. You have Quirrell Mort, you have Umbridge and Dumbledore, and you have these two.
My heart won't stop beating.
I guess you could technically count Batman and Robin over this, but sort of, not really. they had a little bit of tension between them, a little bit of energy, but not quite.
Will never ever become a scar. You're tormenting me. If you're suffering as much as I am, please won't you tell me?
Okay, one thing I'll say about this is that a lot of the rhymes are me and me, which makes sense given what was there, but still, it's kind of like what could you do to keep this verbatim? But still.
Cause the thought of not being with you, I cannot breathe.
A little bit of a split screen, okay. I was to tell that they have multiple cameras, but they do keep cutting back and forth. Okay, as far as the dance goes, my headcanon is that they just they played the song for these two during one of the rehearsals and just let them do whatever and then filmed them like, okay, we're gonna keep this, change that, we'll refine it from there. This fandom rhymes dragon, champion, bandwagon, and jammin'. And Chris rhymed most of those words. Different person in charge of the lyrics in that one.
I'm haunted by the kiss from
By the way, it's worth pointing out that they are outside of the cantina right now, I think. Just on the floor. Just in the middle of the desert of Tatooine, just on the sand.
Spare change, please. Spare change.
How'd the homeless guy get here? Wrong continuity.
Thanks, Annie.
So I'm talking to a couple of friends of mine. They say, you know that party we're having on Friday? Well, I was thinking about inviting Destroyer Droid. They say, don't do it. I say, why not? He'll be a ball.
Because the Destroyer Droid be rolling in a ball and he's gonna be a ball. It's a play on words.
See, with that, you can definitely tell as far as the species jokes go, and the model jokes in this case. I'm guessing, he's taking a bit of a South Park approach. Everyone is being mocked, so, no one's being singled out.
Exactly.
You so ready for the race tomorrow, Lord Vader?
The Lord Vader isn't. But Annie is.
You said scared?
Well, yeah, me so scared. Me so very scared. But it's not bump bad. I'm feeling alive,
Not bad.
Hey, thanks for everything, JJ.
Oh, thank you, Annie.
You so clean today?
Yeah, me say clean.
One day at a time. That's all we can do.
Yep.
One day at a time. See you on the track.
Okay, day. See you tomorrow, Annie. Annie is my friend, and I love him.
And once again, we have exiting the door and coming back in.
Good evening, Mr. Binks.
Obi Kenobi is another friend. Yay!
Oh, yippee. Oh,
I do wonder if Jar Jar figured out what happened between Anakin and Obi-Wan and knows that they themselves aren't friends, even though they both were friends with him at some point.
Is that what you think we are, JJ? Boyos, bosom companions, friends?
Probably not after he voted Palpatine in for emergency powers, after that. But that's a bit of a deal breaker.
But that's what I speak.
The ability to speak does not make one intelligent. Do you know what I said to Qui-Gon the day that we found you on Naboo? I said...
Well, he said that to you just now, so as far as lines trickling down from Master Apprentice, But well, I'll bring that back up later when Qui-Gon is relevant.
You leave that rabbit duck where you found it. And he said to me, this Gungan may be of help. But he was wrong. Wasn't he, Mr. Biggs?
No.
And now I have one final question for you. Is it duck season or wabbit season? Both apply to you, my unfortunate friend.
All the guns they had, just real gun, of course.
Oh, me saying big doo-doo this time.
Yes, a considerable amount of doo-doo. And now, JJ, give me all your booze.
My booze?
Yeah, give me booze now.
I don't drink anymore.
Come on, man. I know you got some. Don't hold out on me. I got a gun on you.
Okay, but this.
What I said before about like Superman aiming lasers and missing. Imagine if Obi-Wan here has a real chance of happening.
Just for emergencies,
All right,
okay?
hand it over. And now give me some money.
I don't have any money, Obi.
You so sure you should check in your pockets?
Check my pockets, Obi.
And you call back to before. I mean, he probably has spent those $50 by now just on surviving.
Please.
Okay. Now do me a favor, JJ. And once I've killed you, don't come back as a goddamn robot.
Please, no!
Uh-oh. I better get out of here.
What's that way? Where are you going?
How's he doing?
Okay, two things about that scene. One, the audience was legitimately sad for seeing the thing that everyone wanted to see at the time, which was Jar Jar getting shot. Second thing, Jar Jar ran across from the person pointing a gun at him. Anyway.
The doctor droid says it's
Classic
not looking
Jar Jar.
good.
Yeah, let's say Jar Jar has never been the smartest.
Something happened to JJ. Did he hurt himself? I never should have left him alone.
Annie, this is not your fault. JJ's been shot.
Shot?
Yes.
A real gun?
By who?
We don't know. He's not making much sense in there.
Well, I want to see him.
No, Annie, you'd better not go back there. No, Annie, wait, Annie.
I don't know why they would stop him in this case, but yeah.
Oh, well, you know, Vader's never been the most emotionally stable of guys.
I guess it depends like how much Tarkin would know about that at this point. Although, oh wait, no, he is known for choking people in meetings, so yeah, fair enough.
Oh, JJ. I'm here.
You said thinking JJ gonna die?
Imagining that, you know, the medical droids are around him right now, or whatever they have as medical staff on Tatooine, because, you know, otherwise, it really should be.
Of course not. You'll be okay, Day.
Monsters out there. Leaking in here. All sinking and no power.
I'm not going back
When you said thinking
to Palpatine until he teaches me to save those that I love from dying, like he promised me in the first place. I believe was about the quote that he said earlier in the play.
More or less, yeah. Yeah, you got the gist.
They're gonna be in trouble.
JJ, this is all my fault. I never should have dragged you into this mess. If only I could stop people from dying.
There you go. This is the kind of thing that they wouldn't do in the modern era. They would not undercut this scene Marvel style, but yeah.
Better dead here than dead in the core.
Oh no, JJ, please don't go. JJ, please don't go.
Sorry, Annie. Misa, going. Oh.
I will say it again, Brian Hodden pulled off the impossible. The one time people didn't want to see Jar Jar Binks die. Yeah. Absolutely. One person chuckled.
JJ? JJ!
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's the kind of undercutting that I would expect from a character, rather than, you know, Ron Weasley breaking into into an epic solo that lasts for way too long in Harry Potter senior year when Hermione is petrified. Am I the greatest? No, I'm not. Am I derailing things? Yes, I am. Anyway.
Who's that, Annie?
Okay, I don't know why he did that.
I'll go and speak with him. I can only imagine how he must be feeling. Annie!
My almost done. Yeah, exactly.
Annie, what are you doing out here?
Exact complaint of Honey Musical Batman, like 90% of their songs, except there was only one song in that show.
Oh, where are you going?
I'm going back to the
Yeah,
Death
but the
Star.
thing is, that song,
What?
like, if I recall, that was just an actual lyric in that song.
Yes, I know. Just because it worked as intended does not mean that I think it was effective.
What about the race?
Well, forget the race. It was a dumb idea to begin with, and now it's got JJ killed.
What are you talking about?
Well, somebody obviously doesn't want me to compete. That's why they killed my pit crew. That's the only explanation for what's going on here.
That's not necessarily true. Everyone hated JJ.
Yeah,
And a lot of them wanted to see him dead.
like I said before.
But the only thing that he wanted to see was you racing again. If you don't compete, you'll be letting him down. Why, you'll be letting yourself down.
I'll be saving us all the embarrassment. Who was I kidding? I can't beat these CGI cartoons at a computer graphic race. It's their turf.
Aside from that line coming back from before, you know, with the CGI stuff, he did say he wasn't looking to win, he just wanted to compete again.
I'm throwing in the towel.
In a moment of triumph, I think you overestimate their chances.
No! You
right,
overestimate
never
my
mind.
chances. I got a confession to make, Torquay. I knew I didn't stand a chance. And I got another confession to make. I don't even think I'm the personnel supervisor aboard the Death Star.
Oh, Annie, you're not. I already knew that.
Well, I didn't. Because I've been lying to myself all these years. Trying to convince myself that I was worth something. Something. But I'm not.
Yeah, so again, I said before
No,
that
I'm not.
from Chris Allen performances, this is the one that I think about the most. Yeah, obviously, this is what I mean in terms of, like, you know, middle or second era Star Kid pulling off, you know, like saving their emotional moments for like these scenes. Like, it reminds you, like, yeah, absolutely, they can pull at your heartstrings. Obviously, like Jar Jar just before, but this particular moment from Chris Allen particularly cements that for me, where it's like, yeah, like most of this is laughs and a few moments of sorrow. And, you know, once they have you down, the intention is to pick you back up again. And that's what they were missing in the Hatchetfield times in third era, you know, was a lot of the time they didn't pick you up again. And that's and that's one of the things that I think, you know, was the magic that they had before that they didn't carry over at the time.
You know, Annie, when you get behind the thrusters of a pod, you have a power that I don't understand, that I could never understand. That's something special, Anakin. Why?
Is that the first time they've actually said his full name?
The first time that he said his full name, I think.
But the way that you're talking right now, you sound like a big, old Chancellor Valorum. Who? Come on, Annie, don't you know dick about Star Wars?
Okay, hold on. I think I
Right.
might know this one.
Go on.
Is
Yeah.
is this the Is this the guy from Old Republic? Is that what they're referring to?
Yes.
No. Well, wait.
Kind of,
Okay.
I think. Yes, he's from Old Republic. Yeah.
Okay.
That's who they're referring to, but why they're referring to him. Can you guess the punchline?
No.
All right, fair enough.
Chancellor Valorum. He was the Chancellor before Pappy. And he was removed from office with a vote of no confidence.
There it is.
You son of a bitch, Tarky. You got me.
It was my Star Wars joke. What did you think of it?
I thought it was a bit too obscure and hard to follow. But also
He's
helped
evolved
me through
since
in a
then.
humorous play on words, you see. That's where the comedy comes in.
He's evolved his craft. That's a character arc right there.
Yo, Annie! Word on the street is somebody shot my boy JJ, and you need a new pit crew.
Bob?
What did I tell you, Annie? You call me! Come on, gang!
Hey, Annie!
Mara, what are you doing here? I figured you'd be dancing your little heart out to the tunes of the Max Rebo band by now.
Who?
The little blue elephant in Jabba's palace? Come on, guys.
Oh, Annie, I don't think that whole slave dancing thing's gonna work out for me.
What about your dream?
I got another dream. And it's to be at the next Food to Eve and to see Annie Skywalker pull up to the starting line. Will you help me with it? Yeah, Annie.
What do you say, pal?
What do you think, Annie?
Ooh, teeny.
Who is that?
Well, I don't know. Saboba's pretty tough, not to mention Quadranero. Plus, my pod could
It's
still
just a random Jawa, I think.
I guess. Also, that was a callback to when he, when Dara convinced him to actually go and follow Doom in the first place.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, cats and dogs, hogs and frogs, I'm a man with two heads.
That's right, Tom.
We're here at the pod racing event of the year, the Boonta Eve Classic.
That's right, Tom.
And everyone's looking forward to the grudge match between the pod racing champ Saboba and the XXX former champ Annie. Personally, I've got no money on this, way past his prime razor, but hey, I've been wrong
It would
before.
have been cool
In
if they
fact,
just
one of my heads
actually
always tells the
hired
truth,
a
and one of
pair
those
and joined twins.
Well, that might be a bit of a difficult casting call to pull off, but yeah, maybe.
always lies.
That's right, Tom.
Feels like the kind of thing someone got on Twitter today. They didn't actually hire conjoined twins to play these parts. They don't care about diversity.
I mean, I never see him in anything. I figure there has to be a good amount that want to be actors.
And yeah, I don't know how many of them would necessarily watch Starkid, but or know about them if they put a poll through.
All right, Annie, she's ready to fly.
Now,
I always
Annie,
miss
be
that.
careful in the Arch Canyon. You're going to have to maneuver the whip, Jag Crag Gorge, and Laguna Cave.
And remember
Has he studied the track?
when you're routing Canyon Dune, look out for the sand people, okay?
And not to worry, you two.
Yeah, they don't live there anymore. They don't live there anymore.
I know this course like the back of my hand.
Let's go over it one more time, eh?
Anika no sabita, which no power deny.
Just do Nile a lot.
All right. Well,
Isn't that the trick that he tried pulling
winner
in
circle.
Phantom Menace as well?
Yes, actually.
It didn't work out for him the first time. Why is he trying it a second time?
Because he's past his prime and maybe it will be enough this time, potentially. It's not really like the best thought out revenge, to be honest. I was guessing, this is referring to the Jawa from earlier. Probably Nick under there, you're right.
Hey, Darky.
Yes?
One more thing.
What is it?
Help me take this mask off.
Don't you need it to breathe?
No. Whatever gave you that idea?
I don't. I assumed.
Just the general breathing sounds that you've not been doing this whole time, because it would be very annoying very quickly.
Yes.
I just want to say thanks with my own face.
All right.
Thank you!
Oh, God. You're welcome.
No!
Oh, no, I'm going to put this back on. Oh, gee, oh, my word.
Isn't it weird that I look like that under there?
Yes. Well,
Hogan's face right there.
moment of truth, eh? You know, there's a saying back on Coruscant. Every great racer has one last race in him.
Okay.
Why don't you go out there and teach them that the last thing to age is the heart?
Another fantastic line.
Can you feel it in the air? Floating around us everywhere. Can you believe it?
Yeah, because I'm the choreography for this.
Now that you're here, he's calling out to you loud and clear. One in a lifetime, nothing like anything you've seen before.
Like I've ever seen before. Aside from, I guess, the broom race, technically, in Harry Potter, was it sequel? I think it was Harry Potter sequel, yeah. Somebody's going down, and it ain't gonna be us.
One in a million, it's right in front of you. Just reach out and do what you gotta do.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine. 3, 2, 1, go!
One in a
Big Star Kid, by the way, with all them doing the engine going down themselves.
in the air, floating around us everywhere. Can you believe it? Now that you're in, it's calling out loud and clear. One in a million. Oh, you got it. Oh, you got it.
Actor, you on the force.
Looks like Annie and the champ are neck and neck.
Oh no, my power cells, they're draining!
Obi-Wan, what are you doing here? Get out of here!
I'm losing speed! Oh, my power's going. What happened to my power couplings? So,
I like how he kept hold of it as well. Can you imagine if he just lost it? It was like, just flies off his hand.
you cheat! You rotten cheat! This is the second time this has happened to me!
Right?
No!
Whoa,
Exactly.
looks like a bad crash for Annie. What a disappointment that must be. He came here for a race, not an execution. Say goodbye to the legend of Annie, folks. Should have stayed in retirement, old man.
Wow, zero compassion for someone who just crashed. I guess in the Boon to Eve that happens all the time.
I'm sorry, JJ. I just couldn't do it.
You know,
Oh, recognize that tune? Recognize that tune in the background?
Don't do this to me.
Doing the thing again.
Fuck
Doing
you.
the thing again. In a week, but it was in Act 1. Flag over the years, like the one that he sang when he's like, in the trash compactor and whatnot, like that. Yeah. Long ago when he was at his lowest. I guess he thinks he is now as well.
Look, man, my memory's
This
too
reminds
flexible for
me
this.
of the time that I found.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, you remember more stuff about actual Star Wars, so that's fair.
You
They
on
compensate.
Mustafar.
Pappy?
There you were, cut in half, on fire, waiting for your old pappy to come and take you home. I miss those days. You don't
I don't think he does. He was on fire and kind
need
off.
me anymore.
That's not true, Pappy.
Annie, I just thought that the Death Star was something that we could do together. But if you wanted the pod race so bad, why didn't you just ask?
Because you would have said no.
You've said multiple times that pod racing is stupid. He already knew that was not going to be something he would vibe with, and yeah, he was definitely right. This is a thing that happens a lot in with parent-child talks in movies where it's like, oh, you should have just asked me. Of course we would support you the whole time. It's like, no, you wouldn't. You're only doing it now because you see how much it actually means. You wouldn't have seen that if they hadn't gone through this in the first place.
Because you hate pod racing.
Yeah, like...
Annie, believe it or not, I was young once too. And I had a dream.
Many don't.
A crazy dream. To build a gigantic boob in outer space. That could
Yeah, now that's a callback you remember.
destroy planets with its galactic milk. And this was back even before I was a senator even. When I was just a lowly community organizer with 300 Republic credits to my name and a bachelor's in poli-sci.
I didn't know that we should poli-sci, which was political science now, but yeah.
Those space boobs seemed so far away back then.
You only mentioned one of them, but you upgraded.
But I worked hard. And I trained to become a Sith. And I plunged the galaxy into civil war. And now those boobies are so close, I could touch them.
This also reminds me of another Harry Potter sequel scene where it was the one where Snape was outside Dumbledore's office and he drunkenly admits what he wanted to do to Lily and makes a reference to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs that I did not realize was a reference until I rewatched that film many years later. Well, you remembered, absolutely. You see what I mean? I miss Joe Moses.
So I know what it's like to reach for the stars. Or the yabos, whatever floats your boat.
In your case, both.
But I guess in pursuit of my dream, I forgot to believe in yours.
To ask what his was. I mean, in isolation, another poignant line that's great for parents to hear. Again, it's another thing that happens a lot in media, but still, you can never hear it too often, I suppose. But yeah, in this in this case, it wasn't you didn't believe it; it's that you didn't know because
I don't.
Yeah,
I think he probably would have known. You have to keep
I
in
guess
mind.
yeah. He's in his head. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to keep in mind that Palpatine had been grooming Anakin since like the first movie. And if you look at like the EU, he was there whenever Plagueis was like plotting to conceive the guy, so.
What was it since the first movie? I don't remember them interacting in the first movie.
It was towards the end whenever they're doing the metal thing.
Oh, okay. All right, I guess. Yeah. You have a dream and I don't give it. I don't remember where that's from, but I've definitely heard that somewhere.
And for that, Annie, I'm sorry.
Okay, there we go. Music
It's okay, Pappy. I did what I came here to do. Erased.
Oh.
Annie, let me tell you something about the Sith. We are the only guys who deal in absolutes.
No,
and we absolutely do not take no for an answer.
Pappy, my bod's busted all the power.
I mean, if anything, that proves that he's a good apprentice based on everything he's done in this so far.
Been tried.
Well, then it sounds to me like what you need is a supercharge. Annie, get in that pod, and here we go. Good! Now go, Annie, go! And remember, try spinning! That's a good trick!
He did that already, actually. He was bumped off at the start of the race and he spun around. Yeah.
Well, it appears that all of our other racers are dead, which makes the outcome of this race a foregone conclusion. And here he comes now, the undisputed pod racing champ of the galaxy, Sebulba, making his way through the Hutt Flats, taking his time, enjoying.
Because tortoise and their hair will never not be something that's referenced.
The scenery, and why wouldn't he? There's absolutely no one who could possibly stop him now. One more day.
I'm sure I said one more day times.
They're trying to pick something up, but it's moving just too gosh darn fast. We can't get a focus on it. Did you see that?
Holograms, you know, Tatooine still has cameras.
Wait, could it be? I think it is. It's Annie!
One in a million. One in a million.
Bulba's face right now is perfect.
You've got the high ground!
What was that? You're not a force user talking, I can't hear you!
Hit the note!
I saw the gesture, I could do that! That's why we have punching bags.
Jesus.
Like I said, the sand people don't live in that cave anymore. I wonder why.
What? He won? That's not fair. We cheated. Oh, well, I guess I'll move on to plan B. I'll raise Annie's son in ignorance, and I'll trick him into killing his own father.
You say raise him in ignorance. You'll have a couple of afternoons with him in ignorance, and then he'll do the rest.
And if I can't,
well, no, he'll show up as a ghost a few times.
Sister.
Oh, let it go, old friend.
Oh, Qui-Gon, there you are. I thought you were dead.
I am. I'm a ghost.
Oh.
How Qui-Gon has never appeared to Obi-Wan as a Force ghost until now.
He has.
Of course, I'm saying in this context.
For a drink.
Always.
I call this one a Qui-Gon Jinn. And tonic.
It's a play on words.
Oh, that
That's where the
sounds-
comedy comes in.
It's lovely, thank you. Hey! Hey! Hey!
Got this lighting effect.
I can't get it. It's all blue and see-through like you.
Sorry, friend, but booze are for ghosts. You see what I did there? Boo, it's the sound a ghost makes. And booze is a word for an alcoholic beverage. It's a humorous play on words.
Okay, yeah, there we are.
Where the comedy comes in.
I beat you
Yeah,
to
so
it.
remember when I said that you know, there's some things, some words that have trickled down of customs from master to apprentice. That was one of them. That's why I said I'd bring back a big M when Qui-Gon came back. It was relevant. I like how he tossed the glass like it wasn't an apparition. It could have fallen in.
No! I wanted a drink. I wanted to take a drink.
Another thing I always remember. Why is Nick Lang so good at playing old men and women?
Oh well. Strike me down now. And I will become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Okay, why did he do that? It's funny, but why did he do that in context? Yeah, just do that. Exit your normal way. Not need any more drinks.
All right, Mara, listen up. Jabba can be a little intimidating, so if you start to get nervous, just picture him naked. That's
He
a
is
joke,
naked.
kid. He's always naked. You'll see.
That one
Gotta
too.
relax. He'll do great.
Yo, Annie, Mara.
Hey, Bob. Thanks for giving me this audition.
Yeah, no sweat. I whisper in Jabba's ear and you get an audition the same day. When Bob says something, you know it's for real.
The question is this a different day? Because she came for an audition before. I guess maybe because, you know, Bob said it, you know, I guess that she wants that she gets to skip the queue, I suppose, with other applicants.
Hey, kid.
Wow, his jetpack is really slow. Hope he doesn't get stuck anywhere
Kid.
soon.
Knock him dead.
Thanks, Annie.
Okay, Jabba. Okay,
Yeah, their puppetry budget was not quite Starship at this
we
point.
got one last audition to see
I'd say like Starship wasn't several years earlier. Anyway.
today.
No Chiba Jedi.
Jabba says, whenever you're ready.
But he also said the word Jedi very clearly. I feel like they took that line from the movies. I think this song is one that I like goes it gets in my head most often in reference to this musical.
She fell down during her big audition.
Still haven't covered herself by that makes sense to me. Again, with based on my head canon of what happened between Tarkin and Emily, I'm guessing that a lot of this was, you know, people choreographed some of these themselves and then some of them had assistants. I guess that is Donovan didn't. Context, okay.
That sucks.
Come on, kid. You can do this.
Here we go.
Everyone thought they were dreaming.
I wish they did one of the Star Wars Connect dances.
Oh my god, yes!
Oh, I think Jacob.
Yeah. Oh, I'm back now.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm Han Solo.
Yeah, you know exactly which one I was doing as well. Fantastic.
Saw you Took them by surprise. They all said you at your moment. Is there then it passed you by? You proved them wrong. Now they know it. Lightning strikes a second time. Back on top, a champion. Back on top, the only one. Back on top. I think you're back again.
Wow.
Definitely my favorite song. And also, I just love whenever someone interacts with the audience in theater. You know, I always enjoy that.
Give him a second to revive here.
Okay.
See if he comes back as a robot.
Think I'm back again. Also, apparently, she choreographed Firebringer. Well, we look forward to that because again, Firebringer is one of my favorite musicals of all time, right? Tied with Guiding Light musicals. So once we get there, I'll be very excited.
Kiri invented dancing is crazy.
Will make sense when we get there. I think that's actually last on our Star Kid roster, I suppose, unless the reprise comes out after it. That'd be really fun, by the way, if we actually managed to time these so that we finish the Star Kid reviews by the time that Guiding Musicals reprise comes out. Then that's a full circle. I don't know.
You're on top of the world. You're in command. Everything exists in the palm of your hand. Yeah, you got it.
When the actors start clapping, everyone does.
If you got the hunger, then you gotta eat it. Just open your eyes, and then you can see it. Just reach out your hand, and then you can feel it. You just gotta believe it, and you can get back on top. A champion, back on top. The only one, back on top.
I'm not even watching it anymore. I had this one a lot in the background, so
What do you think of that? Great dance, kid. That was 1 in a million.
Hey, Danny! Java says you got the part!
Yay, you're enslaved!
I think you're ready now. I think you're ready to go.
The end.
Yeah,
Oh!
it is the end.
Yeah, they did the credits.
Oh, yeah, you mean, of course, yeah, in the style.
I'm coming back to
That's such a nice touch. I didn't even think about that.
No, me neither. Again, I've seen this multiple times. I probably did clock it the first time, but then I just forgot. It's almost the part where I, stop it because it is just, again, we've heard this song before. But yeah, so that was
musical direction by Clark Baxtresser and Pierce Sabers. I'm a big fan of that second one.
I think that's Sebers, but yeah.
Sabers is far funnier, so it's Sabers.
I suppose.
See,
Honestly,
it's a humorous play on words. That's where the comedy comes in.
That's where the comedy comes in. Yeah. that's gonna make it into something, isn't it?
One day.
Can we get Scooby to say that next episode?
Oh Jesus! All right, I'll find a way to fit it in. Right next to the male song.
We have plans for sure. So yeah, like I said, that was Annie. That was one of the two musicals that they did in 2014 and released them roughly around the same time, or had them performed roughly around the same time. I think the next one released later in fact, for years I thought it came out in 2016 and Firebringer was earlier, but no, Firebringer was 2016 and this one was earlier. So I don't know. Clearly, I lost the plot. But yeah, as far as this one goes, unfortunately, this is the out of the two of them, this is the one that did not perform as well. And in fact, a lot of people apparently at the time when it came out, which was just before I started watching Starkid, apparently they didn't like it that much. I guess for the same reasons that Aiden pointed out last time. It was not a musical; it was a dance play, and I guess they weren't used to that kind of thing, I suppose. And I guess splitting up the budget over this, the next musical is also one that handles the cheapness of it, but I feel like there is something there that we haven't got that is probably why people clocked onto it a lot more. As for me, I personally never had any issue with it. Like I said before, this is the kind of thing where I actually can see the appeal behind, behind writing a set of original songs and having them, having them over a play or even, something else, whether, even a TV show or, a Minecraft role play, whatever it might actually be. It is something that I've actually thought, okay, we could do something like that because it'd be way easier on me rather than having to deal with directing other people remotely for singing, which is one of the things that I consistently end up doing, and it rarely ever goes well. So, it ends up well together is because of the editing, not because of the directing. Let me tell you.
I think Star Wars fans have the same problem as Spider-Man fans, which is that the new thing will always be bad, but the old thing is always good. And what those are very much depends on how the time goes, right? So original trilogy started out good, fine. Prequel trilogy, shit. Original trilogy, still pretty good. Sequel trilogy, shit. Prequel trilogy, now that's some good shit. And it's like, okay, guys.
Well, there's actually a joke that Honest Trailers made. I think it was when The Acolyte came out. So it was the Honest Trailers for The Acolyte. And it was the way they started it off was saying, was it like, after the remastered versions ruined Star Wars, the prequels ruined Star Wars,
Yeah.
and the sequels ruined Star Wars, comes the new spin-off series that will certainly ruin Star Wars. It's like, I mean, yeah, people like about that. And then, lo and behold, Skeleton Crew came out, was allegedly a lot worse than The Acolyte. People suddenly would think The Acolyte was not so bad.
I fucking hate it so much, man. God damn it.
But the difference between like modern Star Wars, so it's a Starship. Okay, modern Star Wars discourse versus like this time is that this was still around the time where people would universally, to some degree, agree on like what they found to be bad about something, rather than the sequel trilogy. As much as a lot of people despise them, some other people defend them, and that became like a whole thing. It was like kind of the first time where I saw like a huge division when it comes to how something was perceived.
No,
That's
and
why I
that's
think they struck
the-
while this one was hot, because they didn't know that, I guess, Force Awakens would shift that balance, or destroy the balance, let's say, cloud the force, so to speak, a year later. So they were like, okay, let's put that. This was, an homage to a time where, well, people were, able to agree on what they didn't like, agree on what they liked, and be willing to make fun of, honestly, all of it. Most of the stuff they didn't like, but they did have a couple of original moments in here where, like, yeah, versus, if somebody steps out today, it's like, Obi-Wan isn't like that. It's like, yes, precisely, but who cares?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, even The Last Jedi, I've noticed, has gotten like that sort of fandom treatment where, if you guys remember that thing coming out for the first couple of years, anything besides the Pogs was hated. Everyone kind of liked those little dudes, but that was pretty much it. And now you'll see a lot of people doing retrospectives and how it was always great, and now J.J. Abrams was a genius. Like, God damn it! My thing is,
I think even Return of the Jedi got a lot of flack from people. I wasn't born at that point, so I don't know, but I've heard from the grapevine.
I've never heard of that. I wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say I remember I never disliked 7 or 8 as much as a lot of people did. 9th was the one that kind of bugged me, but.
The question is, does it bug you now after the spin-off shows? That's the question.
I don't know. I dropped off after Mandalorian season 2.
Did that ruin Star Wars for you?
I mean, honestly, Rise of Skywalker was the one that did it. I was just hoping maybe something would salvage it.
All right, fair enough.
And here's the thing: it's the stuff that Disney has a direct hand in that lately that I've noticed that I really dislike. The books and comics and stuff, those still go hard. I just don't have the time to read them all the time.
I can kind of imagine that you would not have been as disappointed with the prequels because, like I said before, political drama is not for everyone, but it is for you. So I can picture you being very happy about more things.
Oh yeah, I was always a big fan of the prequels.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the third movie is my favorite in the entire Star Wars series.
Yeah, and again, something that I've heard more people saying recently than I was expecting. Like, gosh,
Well, I know the
cool.
popular
yeah.
opinion is that Empire Strikes Back is supposed to be the best one, but
That's the long-standing one. I've heard more people say Revenge of the Sith now. Some people, but still Empire Strikes Back is the one that everyone, yeah. I was largely unscathed from the ideas of something ruining the series. It was it was not there were some critics at the time that did say that it was going downhill or something from a film perspective, and then they were very clearly proven wrong through the sheer time, I suppose. But yeah, for the most part, that seems to be the exception.
yeah, the biggest
I would say the holiday special is the one that even the creator did not like, but I'm not sure how. I'm not sure what the response was where there's before people had to actively go out their way to fish it out, because people like to make fun of that one, but they don't necessarily have such a grievance with it because they knew that they themselves had signed up for this.
No, and that's the thing. A lot of the people really, even the actors really didn't want to do it, but they knew they'd get like the money and all that. So like whatever. If I recall, Hamill almost didn't show up, and then he was directly told, "Look, man, it's just to sell toys, please." And he was like, "Fine."
We got the merch rights for those. We can keep that money.
Yeah. Another fun fact is that is the first appearance of Boba Fett. If you guys didn't know that, if I recall, he appeared in animated form there.
That's right, because randomly it became a 2D cartoon at a certain point and then switched back to live action again.
Yep. And the third one, which Jacob already kind of touched on, which was that George fucking hated it after it was out. And he desperately tried scrubbing it off the face of the earth. And while we can get it because the internet exists, at the time it was not so easy. Unless you happen to be, speaking of fishing, Carrie Fisher, who happened to have a vintage physical copy of it in every party she would turn it on.
See, at least someone, enjoyed it. I mean, she got a musical number.
She did it out of the irony, to be fair, but
yes, okay, so clearly, I mean, I wouldn't offended her to like unironically appreciate that, especially when it got to, certain parts for her, the musical being the big one. But you never know. Honestly, but let's say I've referenced the holiday special a couple of times. Whenever I go, the Empire is shutting us down. That's a scene of B. Arthur as a tavern keeper who was having her place shut down by the Empire, as explains, and she also has a song in that one. So I've referenced that a couple of times. I'm not sure if I've done it on this channel or not, but but yeah. sometimes we'll be like, all right, we're closing this place down. And be like, the Empire is shutting us down.
We need to start ending some calls with that.
No, that's what I'll say next time my Wi-Fi cuts out, which will probably be in the next, 5 minutes. So we should wrap up our thoughts about this, I think, before that happens. Yeah. So like I said, much like you've always been a fan of the prequels, and no one else seemed to be. I always I was fond of this one, even though no one else seemed to be. It was never one of my favorites. Just because my favorites were, my favorite was very clearly defined. But yeah, as far as I didn't really have a proper Starkid ranking until I had to decide, what do I show you guys first before we started doing these videos? And then it never became relevant again because we watched Tony Scott Batman and then lived it for several years and then started watching them live. So yeah, I mean, again, this one has a lot of poignant lines. The one thing I've said about this before is that some of the songs, even though like having watched them multiple times, I can distinguish them significantly. A lot of them because they are like the same like rhythm and cadence, same instruments throughout, same tempo. They become very interchangeable, which is an easy trap to fall into.
Well, we talked about that at the end of we talked about that at the
we
end
did,
of the
but
last
now we've got but we did, but now we've got more examples of it. So I'm bringing it full circle to some degree.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you give me a few seconds, much like how I keep asking people, hey, what's that? You recognize that musical track? And I'll be like, okay, I'll tell you which one this is. So it's not the end of the world. It's just something that I noticed.
Yeah, it's not awful. I still think this is the best analogy that that applies to it is the same one we'd made last stream, which is it feels very much like radio music.
Yeah, which again is something the reason why I have it on while I'm doing other things a lot of the time. I listen to it more as an audio play. Where I do with VHS Crystal Carol Live, which also has that quality to it to some degree. But yeah, and then there was one other thing I wanted to say. Oh yes, the low budgetness of it. Like I said before, I love Starkid at low budget, even more than I do at high budget. Even though I appreciate what they've been able to pull off, and naturally because they have so many backers, they should be using that for something, and they absolutely are. So yeah, as far as splitting the cast goes, I used to be confused with that, not knowing that they split the cast because they got, as Otis one point out here, they were released months apart, so I never made that connection. I was always wondering, oh, where's this person? What happened to Lauren Lopez in this one? What happened to Joey Richter? Et cetera, et cetera. And the answer is, we'll find out what happened to all those people next time we do one of these, which I think will probably, keep this going, assuming that my echoey quality is not to anyone's dissatisfaction. We'll see if we keep it going, but I definitely want to make sure that Aiden is around for this next one. So we'll see. I'm excited to get to that point for sure, because this is the one that unfortunately until Beatrice Crystal Carol was the last time that they made a parody, let's say, and even then Beatrice Crystal Carol was more of a retelling. So this was the last real Starkid parody that we had. So next time, it's going to be something that, yes, is based on different source material, goes in a bit of a different direction, like this one. They were experimenting. That experimentation was the one that they didn't work. You compared the idea of, I compared this concept to Shrek, where it seemed like people were being punished if they worked on like one musical versus the other. And you also said that, Lion King and Pocahontas had a similar history, where Lion King was the one people thought was going to fail and Pocahontas succeed. This is the one people thought was going to succeed. Next time, we'll see the one they thought was going to fail. So we'll get to that. But what are your thoughts? Let us know means of liking or disliking, and leaving your comments on your favorite aspects of this musical, and maybe something that it did better than the next one. If something occurs to you, let's get some appreciation for this underrated last of its kind, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, big
Hope that
shout out
someday
for
there is another.
a big shout out for the job actor. That was a fantastic impression.
Fair enough. That is very true. Right down to it probably being an actual line from the movie, as I said before, because the word Jedi was in it. But anyway, enough about this. We'll talk about something completely different next time. We're going Monty Python here. So we'll see you all soon enough in another Barter Bunch video. The Empire is shutting us down.